and welcome to Popcorn and Joysticks, our regular podcast where we talk about games, movies, and TV.
Wow.
My name is Theo. I am today joined by James.
That is me. Hello, welcome.
And Hollie.
Hi.
And it's the first time we've been back in the room together for a while because
has.
I've been...
You're safe
Obsolete.
again.
I've been obsolete. It's a bit mean. Yeah. No, we're all safe. We're all back together.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hot.
I was going to say, we've decided to record a podcast on the hottest day of the year in a small spare bedroom. With
Non-air
the doors,
conditioned.
Yeah, the doors closed, the windows closed, no fan on, no air conditioning.
So this is going to be really short. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.
So yes, we're going to progressively get hotter and sweatier and redder throughout
Yeah.
this whole podcast. So if we lose energy by the end, that is the reason why.
That's the
Yes.
reason why. But I don't think we will lose energy by the end because
No, 'cause
we've
we've
got a great show ahead, haven't we? Because
hopefully.
hopefully.
We think so.
it is.
But we've got plenty to talk about. So we will be diving into obviously Hollie's favourite. We're going to be diving into Final Fantasy VII news this week.
Yes.
But first, we didn't touch on it last week because it hadn't even happened yet, and we're not, fortune tellers. But
Drum roll, please.
we have had the Xbox and Bethesda conference.
We have indeed.
So
Initial thoughts on it?
I was going to say, should we just quickly talk about overall?
I like
and then
the
we'll
concept
delve into it.
that it was everything within a year.
Yeah,
They
I
didn't
really
do
like
any
that.
of in the distant future, you might see this game that we're working on. But I liked it was in the next 12 months, you will see all of these. I liked that concept.
I think that's really nice, and it's quite refreshing, so that we're
Yeah.
not then
Yeah.
oh my god, that looks so cool. No release date, no release window,
Yeah.
and then it's
No
just
gameplay.
we'll see it again in 4 years, or
If you
and
like
then
it.
it'll be a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice to just know that all of these things, apart from one thing that was kind of announced but we'll get into that,
Mm-hmm.
that isn't going to be in the next 12 months. We don't think, but it's nice
Yeah.
to see.
I think overall it was quite a good conference. And like I said, like you just said, having everything within the next 12 months was cool. But also it's a slight letdown when you think things will be out and they didn't show it off. You're like, crap, are they even not in development?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Or is it
it's not
just
coming out in
Yeah.
the next 12 months. Is it end of next year?
Or has it just not made the cut for the show for whatever
Yeah.
reason? Maybe,
Yeah.
to draw comparisons, the Sony State of Play didn't feature, I know, and I know they said this ahead of time, and it's not like I'm disappointed by it, but it didn't feature God of War.
Yeah.
It looks like that is happening this year, or maybe early
Yeah.
next.
But
So-
where's the update, guys? Come on.
Yeah, you'd expect, Sony's summer State of Play.
They would show something.
They show something, although there are rumours that we might be getting something at the end of June.
I was going to say, I
so-
feel like they will do their own announcement or
Yeah.
something to kind of show it off or whatever.
Around summer as well, it's always historically been that Xbox go first and then Sony follow on. And you can guarantee they're behind the scenes at the Xbox one, just
Tweaking.
tweaking.
Yeah.
How much is that console going to
Yeah.
be? Quickly,
50p cheaper.
Yeah, quickly, not 50 quid off it. It'll be good. And then they kind of swoop in, and they've done that for years.
Yeah.
And of course, now that we don't really have an E3, although it is planning to return next year, it's kind of gone the other way around, and it's a bit unusual. But anyway, let's dive into, I suppose, jive into the games that we're not going to go through everything because there was a huge amount in.
Yeah, it was a good hour and a half, and there was a lot of games.
Although probably 15 minutes of that was the splash screen of play it day one on Game Pass.
Yes.
Saw that. I was really worried it was going to get burnt into the TV.
Yes.
It's coming up so often. But the first game that we want to just kind of touch upon is Redfall.
Yeah.
So Redfall, for those of you who don't know, is the new game from the studio Arcane Austin, who are responsible for the Dishonored series. Very high pedigree of developer there. They're now making a vampire shooter hunting co-op game.
I think seeing it showcased at the Xbox showcase made it slightly more appealing to me than previously. I don't know whether it is because we had a bit more kind of in-depth and a bit more sort of hands-on gameplay with it, seeing how different elements or characters and weaponry is going to kind of work. did make it look quite fun.
I mean, it is the first time we've seen gameplay because we've previously just seen the sort of like the tonal trailer, I suppose, the cinematic where we kind of get
the teasers more
so. Yeah. The thing that I quite like about it is I really like the gameplay that they did show where they're kind of like stalking up into the attic and then there's a vampire and it's like, although I did see that and then they kind of turned away and I'm like, did you not see the guy like in the middle of the room? But anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah. And then, you know, I like the fact that they've got these different powers and it seems like each character has got like a real personality to them.
Yeah.
So the 4 different characters that they showed off all seem to be quite different. And I love the idea of having like a spectral elevator that works as like a launch pad. Like, because I didn't really know, because they showed that in the teaser trailer. I didn't really know how that was going to work.
Yeah.
But to see it in action where it is literally just like deploy, walk into it, ping.
And you're off.
But yeah, I think it's something which would be fun to kind of check out.
Yeah.
Definitely like, you know, it'd be like a... Is it actually local co-op?
I don't know,
because I was just going to say, like, it would be a fun game to go back to kind of like sitting on a sofa with a group of mates on Friday night.
Yeah.
Get some pizza in and
LAN party.
Yeah.
If it's not, you know, local co-op, then you know, everyone brings their Xbox round and
Yes. Just like the old
clog
days.
up the Wi-Fi.
by that point we might be, you know, the way that Xbox are going at the moment and they're trying to get it on every platform.
Yeah.
Like you can now play it just on a Samsung TV.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Which is kind of crazy. You know, by that point, by the time Redfall comes out, you might be able to just play it on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, you probably can with like
Crossplay
cloud
stuff,
gaming.
yeah.
So yeah, it's not like we've got to lug TVs around anymore.
But no, I think overall it does look like quite a cool game, and I just feel like that did make it, to me personally anyway, just seem a little bit more
now we've
playable
seen the
or
gameplay,
something.
it's more intriguing.
Yeah. Even though vampires isn't really my cup of tea.
I thought you loved Twilight.
I mean, it is my favourite film of all time. But yeah, I'm kind of pleased that they didn't go down just like the zombie route.
Yeah,
like
it's been done right.
Yeah, I love kind of zombies and zombie things, but there is so many films and games.
And we've never had a vampire one.
We've never had vampires.
They get left out.
What are these vampire things?
Vampires are people too.
Yeah, like in a sort of a game, I think that's quite a new thing in a way. The kind of the vampire horde and stuff.
Yeah.
Normally it's just zombies over and over, and it's overkill.
Yeah. And I did kind of think like, oh, is this just going to be like, it's only ever going to be set at night, and is it going to be quite like restrictive in that? But in that trailer, they kind of showed that the vampires have blocked out the sun. So they've got like 24 hours a day to, you know, go around murdering and drinking blood.
Jiving around.
The Popcorn and Jive podcast. So yeah, moving on from Redfall, this is a game that I'm really excited for, and we haven't seen it for a long time. And it was a really big surprise actually to see it at Xbox, because it had previously been teased as announced as a Nintendo Switch exclusive. But this is Hollow Knight Silksong. So this is the follow-up to the original Hollow Knight, which is a wonderful 2D Metroidvania set in a bug world, where, you know, your mode of transportation is a giant stag beetle that like operates like a train.
Amazing.
Basically. It's so good. I think you'd love I really think that it's
I haven't
like
played
your cup
it,
of tea.
but might have to make the list.
Your cup of tea.
Yeah.
James doesn't like tea.
But it's also really, really hard. So it's very, very challenging.
So it might not be my game. I'll play it for 10
minutes.
minutes, be like, okay, that was good, thanks.
Yeah. But I think you'd love the world, the characters. You know.
I'll watch you play it then.
Yeah. When Silksong comes out, we'll definitely be doing some stuff for the channel with it, because I can't. I'll just do everything with.
Do we know?
Perfect.
Do we have a release date?
No.
Oh.
So within
the next 12 months.
Yeah. The sort of silver lining here is that we've been waiting on news for Silksong for a long time.
Yeah.
We had an article in Edge like a year ago, and that's the last we've heard of it.
Oh,
and it's just been like
okay.
and before that it was kind of like a year plus since it was announced. Nothing.
Yeah.
Edge, nothing. Xbox, 12 months.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
by next summer.
We should be playing Silksong. And it's really encouraging that actually now it has not been. We know that it's coming to everything.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yep.
appearing at Xbox was a really big. Oh my god! I can't believe they've got this. So yeah, it's really nice to see that. I'm looking forward to seeing how Hornet plays. So the character of Hornet is like the female She's kind of an antagonist in the original Hollow Knight, but she's a much faster character than the Hollow Knight. So, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like what
it does
what
look
Team
really
Cherry
nice,
doing
and
there.
it's very platform-esque.
Yeah.
Like gameplay. Visually it does look like a very appealing sort of game.
Yeah.
Obviously not made for everyone, because not every game is made for everyone. But it does look like a very cool game.
Yeah. And it takes place, I think, away from Hollow Nest, which is where the first game takes place.
I was going to say, so this is the second follow on?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to be a prequel. I think this is going to follow on like Hornet's adventures from what happened at the end of Hollow Knight. So, watch this space for that one. And another one that I really like, that I don't know whether you've been into this or not, but A Plague's Tale Requiem.
This one looked really good.
I was going to say, this game definitely caught my eye because it looked visually incredible.
It did, yeah.
So one interesting point was that I think it had been miscommunicated that was actually being developed in Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
It's actually their own engine that they've developed.
Oh, blimey.
And it's a French developer who, they're probably best known for the previous game in the series, so Innocence, A Plague's Tale Innocence. But that game was gorgeous. But it was always kind of like, it wasn't top tier, it wasn't like AAA, it was kind of like next tier down.
Okay.
But what they're doing there looks really good.
Yeah, we went back and rewatched the trailer for it, and I was thinking, like, this, it looked, say, next gen, now gen, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But it did look, it had that sort of grandeur, like, I don't know, the textures, the way the characters moved, everything just looked really, really good. What type of game is it? Is it more, because there was a lot of stealth elements within the trailer?
It's more of a stealthy game because
that's why we haven't played it.
Because you can't go loud.
Yeah, we go loud.
So, there's a really good, I suppose, strong narrative reason for why it's a stealth game is that you are playing as like a 15, 16-year-old girl and having to like chaperone her, I think he's like 5 or 6 in the first game, brother, like through France. So basically Crusades roll in, the plague is there with like literally like rivers of rats that flow through. She's not capable of taking on these soldiers, so she has to be stealthy. So you get like a slightly different moveset, and I think it works really well for that story, because it'd be really weird if she was just like a badass. But it does look like she's kind of, Amicia's kind of losing patience in this new one, and so she's becoming a bit more ruthless, is what they've kind of teased in the trailer. So really looking forward to seeing that one. And again, it's not one that we've had a release date for, but potentially a release date is going to be announced this Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully we'll know. I'd love it if it was like this year. It'd be great if it's this year, because that would be a perfect game to sit down and just play over Christmas, I think. Like a really nice, like narrative-driven game.
Yeah.
One thing which kind of stood out in the trailer to me was, could you control the rats?
So
Those crazy rats.
Spoilers for Innocence. So if you haven't played Innocence and you think you're going to jump into it, then like skip forward like 2 minutes. But basically, kinda is the answer. So Hugo, the little boy, has got some connection to
rat powers.
The rat mob.
Rat power.
So like the end of Innocence sees you like battling off using the power of like waves and columns of rats and things, and it's just incredible. It is like, and the technology that they've got, because it's like a swarm of rats. It looks amazing, and so I don't know what they're going to do for the sequel, but
just that like one shot when there's like the camera was like running with
all the rats,
thousands of rats. I was thinking that's kind of cool. Like again, it gives you that different perspective of playing a game. It sort of mixes it up as well.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a stealth game where you also have a swarm of rats that control.
That makes it much more appealing.
And that would be very painful to be taken on by 1,000 rats.
Oh my god! If I was face to face with like 1,000 rats, I would be desperate to be in the sky.
Would you?
And I would be in the sky with Flight Simulator.
Would you rather? I was going to ask you a perfect question then.
Go on, ask your question.
Would you rather fight one human-sized rat or 1,000 rat-sized rats?
Why do we have to fight the rats?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say, or 1,000 rat-sized humans.
Kick them.
At which point, I think that sounds weird. What I was just about to say. No, I think I'm not really a fighting type. I think I'd pick the giant rat and then run away.
Tug its tail.
Because rats are like good at just like getting into little spaces and overwhelming you in their numbers.
Yeah.
But I imagine if it's still a rat at heart and it's like still like scared of like flame and stuff.
I don't think a human-sized rat's gonna be that scared though.
Oh yeah, maybe not.
I don't know.
And this
it would
rat
be
is
pretty hench.
That's what I mean.
This rat is like
They're dense
out
anyway.
for me, is it?
Yeah.
It's got a vendetta.
Yeah, it's being controlled by a 5-year-old kid.
Who's
savagely after
Can
you.
I attack the 5-year-old kid?
Unfortunately not. I think that's frowned upon.
I'll take the 1,000 rat-sized humans.
Just one rat's horrible.
I'll go for the big rat.
The big rat.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, at least we won't have to deal with this if we're
Because
flying
we'll be
above
in the
it.
sky.
Yeah, we'll be in the sky. So we weren't originally going to talk about this, but then you mentioned about the Halo Pelican dropship.
I think this is James's highlight.
So was this?
I was just thinking like, they've updated Flight Sim and maybe added, I don't know, a new aircraft into it. And then we heard da 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 da.
Yeah, that song.
And yeah,
James
now
lost his mind.
Halo dropship in Flight Sim is pretty cool.
So I mean, I don't know. Like, I've only played Halo multiplayer. I don't know the lore of Halo.
You don't have to for Flight Sim.
No, well, yeah, that's it. I don't know how to fly a plane. I've played that as well.
I think it was more the fact that having, I don't know, I just love like Forza Motorsport, like there's a slight Halo element in that as well, where you're basically in a Warthog and you've got stuff flying around you from the Halo world, which is really cool. Obviously, they're adding Halo into multiple sort of games and franchises and stuff.
It's always been their big franchise.
I just
their tentpole franchises.
Yeah, I mean, Flight Sim, I never would have thought that they would put in,
I guess, more comical
like
stuff.
That. Yeah, I was going to say it's not
a simulator,
comical,
isn't it?
But it's so it's such a real life simulator that putting in some futuristic sci-fi spaceship where you could fly over your own house is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
I've not played it. I've not checked it out.
I don't actually know when that was out.
Is it out now?
I'm pretty sure it's out now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, that would be great to check out, I reckon.
Yeah.
And obviously, the first thing you would do is like fly that
Over your
dropship
house.
over your house. Right?
Yeah.
We've seen some of the gameplay.
As
and
long
it
as,
looks like
as
it
one of
acts
the
like
switches inside you can turn on and it just plays the Halo theme tune. That's all you want. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, flying over your own house.
I mean, failing that,
And
you can always plug
also,
your music in and
you
just...
can fly it even further than the sky. You can fly it into space as well.
What?
Why aren't we doing this?
That's pretty cool.
Why are we doing this podcast?
Yeah.
Why are we not
Let's go.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, yeah, well, we need to check out when that's out, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was out now.
We might be wrong, but it's soon anyway.
Yeah.
So, from one Xbox franchise, Halo, to another, Forza Motorsport, we saw the latest reveal, I suppose, of Forza Motorsport and what they're doing there. So, can you tell us a bit more about that?
I mean, it looks incredible.
That was the shiniest thing I've seen in a while.
It was like
That is
mirrors on wheels.
literally the only word I wrote down. Forza Motorsport, shiny.
Yes, it was so shiny.
Yeah, so obviously Forza Motorsport is their, talking about simulators, it's their driving simulator. It's to make it feel like you're actually driving on racetracks. We've obviously got like the Horizon series, which is the more slightly less
fun,
real,
bit more like
but it's more
maybe
kind of, but it's like the open world game. You know, we've had it set in sort of England and Glasgow and
Mexico
or Edinburgh. Was it Edinburgh? Glasgow? Can't remember now.
Edinburgh.
And
then the
of
new
course,
one's
Edinburgh Castle.
Mexico.
Then the new one's obviously in Mexico. Super fun. Lots of like fun challenges of like big ramps and stuff. They're also introducing the Hot Wheels element into it, which
That looked awesome.
Looked awesome.
So that's for Horizon.
That's for the Horizon. Yeah. So obviously you've got like big loop-the-loops and stuff and Horizon-based cars in it, which looks amazing. But obviously with Horizon Motorsport, that is the real-life kind of real simulator style racing game. And they've kind of announced that they're giving more sort of control over the actual car. I think you can dive in and do a bit more kind of like tire pressures and, you know, actually rigging the car out how you actually would on an actual racetrack, which is cool for some people. But obviously a lot of people just want to play a good looking car game on some cool tracks and don't really know or understand the
I'm not bothered about the air pressure of my tires.
Yeah, the tire
in real life, let alone in the game.
And whatnot. Yeah, exactly. I've got to do that for you. So yeah, just looked really, really cool. They were saying like they gave a metric of it's 48 times better graphics or something within it. But
48 times more car.
Something.
The wording,
some advertising spiel.
Yeah, the wording they used was
so just out of interest, it's just your
48
sort of,
times physics simulation.
Oh,
he's got 48 times the physics.
But I don't know what they're comparing that to the previous game.
The previous one, I imagine?
To the original?
I do see a lot of stats they do put up on screen. You're like, but compared to what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But it just looked amazing. The real, like the weather simulations and the lighting simulation.
I thought that was really impressive. I really liked that. I thought that looks great that you can actually like race at different
times. And they were saying as well how then the temperature. So if you're playing and it goes into nighttime, the temperature drops is going to affect your car, and that's obviously when you need to start going into the details of the car to make it perform optimalness.
It's optimalness. Yes. Will we have? Do you think we'll have things like endurance races where we'll get to race for a long time, where we'll see that?
Yeah, I can imagine they'll do like a 24-hour Le Mans race or something.
That's cool. That is cool.
That would be pretty incredible. So yes, overall looks gorgeous. The ray tracing and stuff on it looked incredible. The textures.
I thought the textures was a point to note actually. It was that like, when they were showing the back end of that car, I don't know what car it was.
Carbon fiber.
The different metals. Like, wow, that is another level of detail. And it looked amazing.
And also having that camera, so on the gameplay part, the camera could like go to one car. There was no cuts, no editing. All in engine, you know, flying the camera around. So again, hopefully we can do that. So if you've done a race, maybe we can then watch it back and be able to, in real time, use and manipulate a camera. Even then changing the lighting whilst you're racing to see what that corner would have been like at night. You know, that would be really cool. We could just spin the sun around. Whilst we're watching the game
because
back.
That's a really big thing for, I suppose, its closest competitor in Gran Turismo, where a lot of it is about like taking photographs of cars rather than racing them. And of course, it's all about like being able to share the perfect image. And if you can get yourself, you're taking a corner really cool,
so
that it's like you can move the sun around. And
Horizon, that's quite a big thing as well. Is taking a picture of all the cars and doing like a handbrake turn and then going and seeing all like the smoke and the I don't know, the sparks coming off.
I like to think of it as like Pokemon Snap Car Edition.
Yeah. But I think that is an achievement, is to take a picture of every car like in Horizon, which is.
And have they said how many cars there's going to be in this one?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I assume quite a lot. And it seemed like there was some like concept cars in there as well. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking it out because I love cars and I love car games.
Yeah. And we'll find out within the next 12 months.
Yes,
and of course it'll be day one on Game Pass because it's Xbox.
Yeah, so it's going to be included and stuff, which is incredible that these types of games are just on Game Pass for your small monthly fee.
Yeah.
So yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's very cool. So when we mentioned earlier that all these games will be here in the next 12 months, the one that probably isn't going to be anywhere near the next 12 months is not even a game necessarily, but we got to see Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
Who is Super Bay. I love him. But yeah, I think that was sort of rumored a little while ago that Kojima might have been working with Microsoft. Yeah. So he was only there for like literally like less than a minute on a video. And so he's partnering with Xbox Game Studios and said that his new game will utilize the power of the cloud, and that it is, in his words, this is the game I always wanted to make, one that no one has ever experienced or seen before.
I mean, it's quite a pitch.
It is. Is this his horror game that's rumored?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know if you would need. So the big thing that he made mention of was the power of the cloud.
Yeah.
So Microsoft obviously like big IT, massive IT firm. That really doesn't no justice, does it? Big IT firm.
They're one of the biggest.
But yeah, their tech is pretty good.
Yeah.
So he wants to use the power of their cloud to make something. Well, we've seen with Death Stranding that is like a new genre that he was trying to sort of bore there, where it was like the Strand genre. Where is he going with this?
I don't know, but his mind's great. I'd just let him roll with it. He's
so creative, and I'm really pleased to see this. And I love that, we're finally going to get something else new. Because it's been a few years since Death Stranding came out. And it sounds like he's also still potentially working on like a sequel to that because of the whole like Norman Reedus saying, we just started working on the second one.
Yeah, so I think that's the point, that I don't think he's just ditched PlayStation. No. I think he's doing dual, like he's making different things for different platforms now.
And he did come out, and I guess he had to do some damage control for people who are like don't be a fanboy. Like, just
Twitter was quite a ride about
don't
that.
Don't be a fanboy and wear his t-shirt.
Yeah, you can fanboy Kojima all you want because Kojima is bae. But yeah, basically, I think people were maybe a little upset that, maybe he has
misunderstood
PlayStation. So he came out and said that the relationship between himself and Sony and the game studio and Sony is still really good. And I imagine that IP for Death Stranding is tied up there. If Reedus is talking about there's a second one coming, it's probably only ever going to be like with the first one. It'll be on PlayStation and PC, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the last big game that we saw, of course, was Starfield.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Skyrim, as a few people have dubbed it. What do we think of Starfield?
I feel like, I don't know, I was, I guess, slightly underwhelmed.
Okay. So did you go into it with like large expectations of...
It's had a lot of hype.
I think because it's had so much hype that it's going to be like this delayed. crazy, next gen type game. People's been talking about it for years type of thing. And then when they kind of showed it off, it was like you just said, it just felt like No Man's Sky. Not that that's a bad thing, because obviously No Man's Sky is very, very cool. But it didn't seem advanced or...
Considering it's been delayed, it didn't quite seem as...
And they announced...
Polished,
like
maybe?
Revolutionary.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you would think that the game would be nearly done. They probably just had to do some last minute bits that they found. And... it looked good. Like, I'm interested to check it out, but I guess it is very similar in some instances to No Man's Sky.
Yeah, because people now have been putting like side by sides of No Man's Sky and this, and it's like it's basically the same game.
Yeah, because they've said that there's 1,000 planets or something.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. Well, not disappointed, but
No
like
Man's Sky's got billions. But then I saw they also said that there's like 4 major cities, and I'm like, I hope there's not only 4.
That's my concern.
That's a bit bizarre, because surely every planet should have a hub and then lots of other things to discover. Otherwise, what's the point?
Colonized or something. I guess some planets would just be like, here's an alien planet.
A big gassy giant that you can't land on. You just die.
But it's like it's the whole planet as well.
Yeah.
What doesn't quite sit well at the moment. And it might be amazing, and they might have like done something with, but I don't just want it to be like, here's the sand planet.
Here's Tatooine.
No matter where you land on Tatooine, it's just sand and there's nothing else there. And there's like maybe like a cactus and like 4 different types of creature. That feels like a waste of a planet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
If that's 1 out of 1,000.
If that's 1 out of 1,000.
Yeah, because
here's water planet. Here's forest.
But I think because they've made 1,000, you hope that they're going to be full. It's not like No Man's Sky where it's randomly generated. You don't know what you're going to get.
Like, I'm cool with them not being completely full, No,
like, but at least
I'm not expecting to land on Coruscant, and like there's a massive city there for me that is kind of like Night City that I can go and walk around.
Yeah, I guess you don't want it too big.
But like, I'd rather have, I don't know how they're doing this. There's no way that they have the resource to create 1,000 planets to actually explore and have a lot of content in each. I'd rather have fewer that are really like detailed and really like meticulously. And oh my God, the bugs that you get in a Bethesda game, right? Like Fallout, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, they all suffer the same fate where they're quite buggy. And that's usually in a map.
Yeah.
Like a map that's like typically like a few, I don't know, tens of miles square sort of thing. Put that in a universe.
Yeah, and I guess this is my worry, is we say it's very No Man's Sky, but No Man's Sky started off very basic and built.
Yeah.
So whereas it may have got a bit of stick in the beginning, I think that was very clever of them. They didn't say, here's this grand design of a game and then it fails. They kind of built the universe and then it expanded on it. Whereas these guys just seem to be going, we've built a whole universe with all of this stuff in it and it's going to launch like this on day one. And I just feel like it's probably going to be really buggy.
I mean, maybe it's the plan that it's going to be DLC released over X number. Because, there is something really nice about having a humongous RPG that you can just play for months on end and really enjoy it. There's probably going to be like a core story that takes place in that solar system. And then if it's like every month or two.
And then you get distracted to go and chat to some aliens and go on all their side quests. That's totally what I'll be doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'll be in the hub world, you'll be in the hub city, and there's now a new NPC there who's giving you quests.
Yeah.
And it goes to a different universe. And for that piece of DLC or whatever, that update, then maybe it's got, this is all entirely speculation. But
yeah, we have no idea.
We've got no idea. But we do know that you can't actually fly between space and...
I was going to bring that up.
Like the planet's surface as well.
And again, that just kind of made it just not seem like it's the game.
Oh, so it's not seamless?
No.
No, so I think you'll probably get like a cutscene. So like when you enter atmosphere...
So it's not No Man's Sky?
No.
Man.
And I think that's the thing, there's those few things that they said just made it like be knocked down a peg.
Well, maybe that's what they want. Maybe everyone's
surprise, you can fly to a million.
Yeah, but maybe like
space
everyone's
to
expectations are really high. So they're like, we need to knock them down a peg or two because it's a Bethesda game and we've got bugs.
Yeah.
So maybe that was deliberate.
Yeah. I'm hoping that like the next, however long it's going to be until we get a new release date, but that time is used for polish. I'd love to think that it's finished now and all of that time is for polish.
I hope so.
Because we don't want another like Fallout 76 situation going on here.
But I am intrigued and I think we probably will check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's flying around space, landing on planets, meeting up with aliens. I mean,
sounds like my kind of thing.
Sounds like fun,
It sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be quite difficult to not be fun.
Yeah.
to do those things.
Like we've made this space exploration game and everyone plays it and it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Great.
Like, I'd rather just go and do my taxes.
Oh man.
But something I'm sure that is a lot of fun for at least one person on this table. So we're moving on from Xbox now. We also had the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary stream.
Oh man, yes,
so we know someone, don't we, James, who's very keen.
I just zoned out for a minute.
It's not you. You're not the big fan on this table, James.
No. So
what? Sorry.
So of course it's the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And the biggest news coming out of the event that they held on Thursday was that you can now buy a Buster Sword clock, which I thought looked really cool.
I did see that already. It's very expensive.
Is it?
Yeah. I was going to get it and I saw how much it was. And I was like, no, I'm not paying that for a clock.
Call yourself a fan.
A skint fan, yes.
So I guess they started the show with the announcement that Final Fantasy VII Remake is finally coming to Steam, which is great for everyone who plays on PC and doesn't like Epic Games Store. But it was like, okay, that's coming out tomorrow. But it's like, give me the juicy news. So we had some juicy news, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. They did have, I think, people worried at the start when they came up with the announcements. And they're like, come on, don't just leave it here.
Well, I put some predictions out on Twitter like during the day of like what I thought we could see. I'm pleased to say I got 3 out of 5 on that. But one...
Oh, I didn't see. What were your predictions?
I think I predicted Crisis Core re-release, information on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, and what was the other one? It might have been like... I can't remember.
What didn't you get?
I didn't get Advent Children returning to cinemas. Because I just thought, how cool would that be? Like,
how good would it be if they made that into a game, though?
If they remastered it. What if they made Final Fantasy Advent Children into a game? They've got enough on their plate.
The DLC.
Yeah. So, we won't touch on everything that was announced in the stream, but some really big things there. Crisis Core Remastered. coming to everything this winter?
I think remaster is quite a undersell. I know that's how they're selling it, but I'm not.
I've really become confused now because, like last week we saw the remake of The Last of Us Part 1, and that does look quite similar, kind of different, looks amazing. Now, this isn't just straight remaster. It is, they look
like they remade everything, but the scenes look very similar. Maybe the same. I haven't actually checked, but from what I remember in my memory, they look very similar. So it looks like they have remade the story. But what makes me doubt it's just a straight up remaster or just a remake is the fact they've called it Reunion. Yeah. They've used the rename.
I think this is
I'm wondering what they've changed.
Yeah, I think this is a Tetsuya Nomura thing. You've got remake, reunion, rebirth. Then you look at Kingdom Hearts. You've got like Remind, you've got like days, all this other stuff. It's just he just loves RE. He's just like a massive Resident Evil fan. Really likes religious education.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just reminds me of being at school.
Yeah. Is it time for RE? Yes, Tesura.
So I'm wondering whether they're going to change any elements. So like Crisis Core is still pretty much canon to the original, and then Reunion is going to be canon to like the remake, Rebirth. I'm wondering whether there's going to be something. I don't know what.
Yeah, see,
I wonder if there's.
To my shame, I never actually finished Crisis Core because it beat me.
Okay.
Like I couldn't finish it. Though I got maybe like 3/4 of the way through the game. There was a boss fight I just couldn't beat.
Oh man.
And that was it. And I put it down and never went back.
You couldn't beat it.
Could not beat it.
Remember the day. I have played it, but it's such a long time ago.
The games that have beaten.
Yeah. But it was such a long time ago. Like the details are very hazy.
Yes.
So I could play it and I probably wouldn't even remember the difference, if you know what I mean. So the one thing I did note that was different was his Buster Sword, though. They've changed the Buster Sword design from the original.
Oh, have they? As in like from the one that, we've got Cloud on the desk.
Yeah, so that is the one. So they changed. Sword, right? Yeah, so in the original, he had a different Buster Sword, and he's now got the one that matches the remake.
Oh, okay. I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But we don't really know much else about it, to be honest.
And we're not going to have to wait long. This winter, I hope it's this side of Christmas, because winter obviously...
Yeah, I would assume that's before...
Yeah.
I would assume that's before Christmas.
Yeah, yeah. Is it? It's interesting that it's coming to everything, right? Because then something else that was announced, which we will talk about very, very shortly. We'll talk about it now. Rebirth. That is confirmed to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive.
So I wonder if they've done a deal with Sony so they've confirmed it's a trilogy, or they've called it Project. So I think they've done a deal that this 7 remake project is going to be exclusive to Sony, and I would expect that as soon as the third one hits, they'll probably have it for a year, and then Xbox might be allowed it. Because Crisis Core is considered a separate entity.
Yeah.
Maybe
they can put it on everything. Though.
Yeah, I guess that would be my guess. I don't know.
So for you, where would you play it? Where would you play Crisis Core?
PlayStation.
You'd go PlayStation.
Yeah.
You wouldn't fancy
on
it
the sofa or...
away from James.
You're trying to play
wherever James is not.
Who's this guy? What's he doing now? Why is his hair so spiky?
I did say, do you know who this character is? And you just went, Cloud with black hair or something. Like,
Cloud's just been to the hairdressers.
Yeah. I'm really.
So, are you going to play it?
What, Crisis Core? Yeah, I can't wait. I think it looks amazing, and the what they've done there looks, in my mind, it looks like how it was. So when I first saw the trailer,
nothing's changed.
How it looked like in my memory. So when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, cool. That looks almost exactly the same. It's when you're now seeing the comparison shots and like the side by side. And I'm like, oh my god, they've put loads of work in, which makes me think it's not just a simple remaster, but actually there's going to be. And like you said, they've called it Reunion to maybe differentiate it a little bit.
Suspect.
And we got our first trailer for Rebirth.
I know. And the name Rebirth. Which is interesting in itself.
I can only imagine the explosion that happened in this house when that was announced.
Rebirth!
Not quite, but yeah, something like that.
She woke me up.
She was sleeping, yeah.
Oh, you were asleep. You didn't stay up for it.
I watched it.
Is that snoring away? It's only 10 minutes. Stay awake.
Yeah. 10 minutes extra sleep I could have got.
This guy, what have I got to put up with? I don't really know what to say or where to start, to be honest. If they didn't show that trailer, though, can you imagine the uproar that they said, let's get excited, and then just didn't show it? So I think we knew that it was happening.
We're going to put Dirge of Cerberus out on PS Plus and Game Pass.
I mean, it's a good game.
I've never played it. I'd love to play it. Like when they first put it up, like they were showing all the titles for Final Fantasy VII, and they showed Dirge of Cerberus. It's like, oh, I'd forgotten about that. I'd be up for that.
I've got it lying around somewhere.
We should maybe play some of that at some point soon.
Anyway, I don't really know where to start, but some interesting trivia I found out about the name Rebirth could have a dual meaning, because what it also can translate to in Japanese is reverse.
Interesting.
So God knows what they're going to be doing. Is that like a reverse of some time?
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay with spoiler talk here, because it is 25 years since this originally came out. So if you want to delve into anything in particular...
Well...
I still might play it, so I don't want any spoilers.
I don't believe you.
Well, I guess
I might play it.
It's tricky on what to say, because we haven't seen a lot. They haven't given a lot away, and I have watched the English version and the Japanese version, and the difference is a lot.
Really?
The wording and how things are worded is probably the biggest thing I would have noticed.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend everyone do that if you're interested.
Yeah.
So the main thing I think that stood out to me was, I think the visual is Cloud and Sephiroth walking up the mountain.
This is the mission, right? This is the original mission when they're going out together.
Yeah. But the voiceover is Tifa saying something about when she died. In the reactor, presumably? Yeah, so I think that was the point in the reactor when he thought she was dead. I can't remember. I can't paraphrase. I don't really know what it was. But it was something, but she used the word died.
Yes.
But in the Japanese version, she just basically said, "You're doubting me." She didn't use the word that she had died. So it was a completely different way. But in the English one, I found it very interesting when she said, "You thought I died," and then it cuts to the shot of Eris. In that, I will always say Eris, never. Because the British version, it was Eris, not Eris.
I'm just going to say this now. I do not care. You say Eris, you say Eris. You could call it Jane for all I care. We know who we're talking about.
Exactly, yeah. So I just thought it very interesting they cut to that shot when it was Tifa referring to in the English version about her dying.
Yeah.
I thought that was very clever and very toying. I don't think that they will change it. No. But the fact they called it Rebirth and it could reverse, are they really toying with us with the fact they could do something with their storyline?
I mean, we have seen a big significant change in part one, right? We've seen a big change in remake. So maybe cards on the table, they could just do whatever they want with this now.
I don't know how I feel. I'm just going to let them roll with it. They have said it is different, so who knows what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm interested to see which part of the original games make it in. Because obviously we had Midgar and up to the Midgar escape in remake, and that's end of disc 1.
No, so this is what
part of disc 1.
This is what I was thinking is, so they've said it's 3 parts now, and part 1 is Midgar. But you can do Midgar in the original in 6 hours.
Yeah.
And disc 1 ends, isn't that when one of our favourite characters is no longer with us?
Oh, is it that? See, because it's been a long time since I played 7. And the last time I played it was digital as well. So I wasn't changing discs.
And I think also, because I haven't completed it in so long. I've played disc 1 a lot, but actually completed to the end, I can't remember the last time I did it. Yeah. So I'm a bit hazy on what's on what disc. So they've got the whole game, which is Midgar for remake. And then most of the shots in Rebirth also looks like most of disc 1.
Yeah, okay.
Not all, but most of. So I'm wondering, what are they going to cut out? And then I was thinking, well, we've got Yuffie as Intergrade as DLC. Could they even go as far as to take Vincent out for DLC? Are we going to get to play as Red 13? Is Cosmo Canyon going to be taken out for DLC? I'm just wondering how far they're going to go.
I think we're going to have DLC for this again.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely going to see a playable Red 13.
I hope so. He's one of my faves.
Because I think from memory, those files kind of exist in the original game for Final Fantasy VII Remake. So it's he was almost playable.
Yeah.
And of course, he does join you in battles and things. So everything's there for him. And people love Red 13.
I think we will get the playable.
You've got no idea who he is, right?
You do know who he is?
Are you guys still talking?
Sorry, James. Yeah, but I think he will be playable, but I wonder whether some of his backstory will be in the game, like, or whether they're going to dive deeper into people's backstories, like we did with Yuffie. That was not in the original. Whether we're going to get extras, whether they're just going to cut stuff out completely and make it as optional DLC, I really don't know. But I don't know how they're going to tell their new story in 3 parts, being as one of the parts is just Midgar.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think I just can't wait to find out. Yeah, basically.
Me neither.
And also I really, really hope we get the Golden Saucer.
Yeah,
like, I think that'd be so cool. You know, just like, even if that's DLC, and it's like, you'd love this because it's basically an arcade in Final Fantasy VII, where it's just like lots of games. There's I think there's a play that you can take part in as well.
There's so much
going on there.
I also like the release schedule. I think we're done Final Fantasy, or James actually falls asleep. But I like the release schedule that we do have Crisis Core this year, and then we have Final Fantasy 16 next summer, and then Rebirth next winter.
We're eating good right now.
We are, but I like they kind of spaced it out, so then you've got enough time to play it.
Yeah,
I'm glad they didn't just drop it all and they didn't consider other.
Yeah,
I'm pleased with that.
Maybe that also means that we'll get Kingdom Hearts 4 winter 2024.
Yeah, maybe.
At which point I'll just be like, yeah, give it to me. That's fine.
We're done. Okay, sorry, James, that's enough. Thank you for listening.
So those are the big things that we wanted to talk about this week. But what have we been playing this week? Watching?
I mean, we went to see the new Top Gun.
We did.
That was last weekend.
I had a great time,
It's been
actually.
out for a few weeks now.
With Thomas Cruise.
With Thomas Cruise. What a ride.
It was such a good ride. It kind of makes me want to go on one of the planes, though.
I would love to.
I did actually Google how much it costs.
Too much.
Too much money is the answer.
Yes. No, I think it was a really, really well put together film. I think anyone would be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There isn't anyone who I can think of who I wouldn't recommend it to, because I think it was just like I said, it's a fun ride to actually kind of watch, even if you're not into airplanes or action type films. I just think it was a well put together film. There was no real fluff in it. There was no kind of padding out or anything. I felt like most of the film, most of the scenes felt necessary to tell the story. Yeah. They didn't overcomplicate things. It's quite a straightforward, very linear film. You don't really need to know the original Top Gun.
No, I can't really remember it.
That's good, because I've never seen the original Top Gun.
They do drop in things what happened, so you don't need to even have seen it.
There's a few flashback scenes where they drop in a few seconds from the original film, but it doesn't mean you're not going to enjoy this.
No.
So if you haven't watched the original, don't not watch this because you haven't watched it. Go to the cinema and watch it, because it is such a visual.
One thing I also enjoyed is that we watched a behind the scenes about it, or some more information about the filming. Yeah. And actually watching that, we watched that before we'd even watched the film, which I thought was a bit silly, but actually I really enjoyed that way around, because one of the shots, the plane takes off towards the camera and it actually partially destroys a building. And they said that was completely accident. They didn't mean for that to happen.
Yeah, it ripped the roof off.
But then leave it in.
And they said, well, we got to leave it in. And just knowing that was accident and that wasn't staged, that wasn't a rickety old building.
If they wanted to rig that would have cost so much money.
But that's what I mean.
So much more time. And then they basically, they were kind of next to, this kind of cabin shack thing. And it just ripped it past and the roof come flying off. But when you watch it in the film, you think that it was staged.
And that's the point. I think
someone's pulling a rope and pulling the roof off.
And I think because I knew that before we went into it, I was like, oh, that does not, that looks staged.
But there's quite a few shots that happen like that. There's one where they basically do low level flying when they're literally a meter off of the floor and just pull the
pull up
handle, joystick, whatever you've got an
plane
airplane,
controller,
the plane controller, the steering wheel, the airplane, and they basically go straight up, and it creates this whirlwind of 2 spinning
spirals.
Dust whirls.
Oh, that's cool.
And again, if you haven't watched the behind the scenes, you might just think, oh, that's CG. They've added these cool wind elements, but it's all in camera.
But it was fluke.
Unplanned.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
So knowing that, because then when you see it in your film, you're like, that was fluke, guys. That was fluke.
But like, I think 99% of the film is all in camera.
Mm-hmm.
There's virtually no CG. Like there is a few bits of CG in it, and you will know it when you see it. But like 99% of the actual planes flying is all in camera, and I just came out of the cinema with a massive smile on my face.
It was just fun.
I just grinned the whole way through, but I was thinking to myself, how, like logistically, how do you even plan a shoot and a shot list and a storyboard?
When most of them are in planes.
And like they basically said, again, on like the behind the scenes, they put like 6 cameras in the cockpit and they just go for an hour.
Yeah.
And it's the actor's job to basically hit record, do the lines and try to remember what they've got to do, and even be looking like to match eye lines. If in the shot there's a plane flying by and they have to look, up to the top left, like they need to remember that whilst they're basically being flown by the world's best fighter jet pilots and stuff.
Are they being flown by Top Gun?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
And so Tom Cruise even paid the actors to get like advanced training to get them fully into it and involved.
Yeah.
He sounds like a very generous young man, this Thomas Cruise.
Oh, he's very, very good.
Very generous. Only slightly crazy at the stunts that he does.
Yeah.
But I think like we've got to the point now with Tom Cruise is like he is his own genre.
It's just film. Tom Cruise genre.
Like there's no other films that compare to him and his style of filming. Like you look at like especially like the newer sort of Mission Impossibles and stuff. No other actors doing crazy stuff like that.
No.
So whether you kind of love him or hate him, you've kind of got to respect him that he is putting himself in these crazy places, whether it is like Mission Impossible hanging onto the outside of an airplane or climbing the tallest building in the world on the outside.
A lot of respect.
Yeah, not taking the stairs.
Yeah, or the elevator.
That would be enough of a stunt for me. If I had to climb the Burj Khalifa on foot, I'd be like, no, forget about it.
That's my stunt done.
Hands
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, fantastic film.
Give it a watch.
The only thing which I wish was slightly different was the soundtrack. I just wanted a little bit more kind of the original soundtrack in it or something.
Okay.
There is a lot of like the old songs, but I feel like
they could have had more with it.
Could have been a bit more sort of old guitar tunes blasting, but they do start with like the renowned songs of sort of Top Gun.
We're in Danger Zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just thought it was a great film. And again, just one last thing was one thing which I really liked was they never. So there's like, without spoiling too much, they obviously have to do a mission. The whole thing is they're training these fighter jets pilots, but you never find out like who the enemy is. It's just
the enemy.
Oh, we've got to do a mission. We've got to do here, go here, do this, and that's it.
Yeah,
they don't talk about what country, what race, what religion.
There's no indication
There's
of
no
anything.
indication of who the enemy is. We never see the enemy.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, that was perfect.
I like that.
Because there's no complication. There was no toing and froing of like who's good, who's bad. It just was, here's the film.
Yeah.
From
you don't have to
sort of
think
start
about
to
the
finish.
politics. It's
yeah,
just...
there was no politics. There was no political, for me anyway, I didn't feel like there was any kind of political status for the film to kind of angle propaganda or anything. It was just, we're not even going to mention
we're just going on a mission.
We're just going on a mission.
Yeah.
And there it is.
And going to have a good time.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. Speaking of having a good time, Hollie,
yeah.
you've been playing something.
I have got my very first platinum. I am not someone who really looks at trophies or achievements or anything like that. I just kind of play the game and that's that. I don't normally even look. But I did manage to get Cat Quest.
Congratulations.
The polar opposite of Top Gun.
The polar opposite of Top Gun. And I'd like to add, it's very easy. You basically just had to complete the game, get to the maximum level, do the dungeons, done. Like, very nice and simple. It
still sounds a bit more in depth than, not to like rag on it too, but like My Name is Mayo, where it's just like hitting a bottle of mayonnaise repeatedly.
Yeah, see, I still want to have
So you
fun.
get a
I still
plan.
need to be
Yeah,
a cat
exactly.
or something. Yeah.
And so now you're moving on to Cat Quest 2.
Yeah, and then I bought Cat Quest 2 because it was so much fun. Not because I got the trophy, just because it was actually so much fun. And it was £3.
Excellent, cool.
Yeah.
Well, something else that is so much fun and is actually free is trivia time.
Trivia time.
So, if you're a regular watcher of the podcast, we have a little trivia question. It's a multiple choice question. We pit James versus Hollie.
And we get it wrong.
And yeah, it's been difficult.
It's Theo's time to shine, basically, to ask us.
I was secretly quite glad that we didn't do trivia time when you weren't here. So we got a week off of looking silly.
Basically, it's multiple choice, and
That doesn't help us.
the answer's never in the multiple choice. I swear, no matter what one we choose, it's always a different
E.
answer.
It's always E.
A, B, C, or D. We'll go E.
Come on then, Theo.
Yeah. So currently, James, you're on 2, Hollie, you're on 1. And this week's question is, now we always try to do something a little bit meta, something we've talked about in the podcast. And it's actually something that's on my chest right now. We're going to be talking about Hideo.
Oh.
Hideo
Kojima.
Kojima is best known for creating the Metal Gear franchise. But which of these games did he not work on? A. Zone of the Enders. B. Snatcher. C. Death Stranding. Or D. The World Ends With You.
I've not heard of 3 out of those 4 games.
I'm interested. Which ones have you not heard of?
All of them, apart from Death Stranding.
Okay, so you've heard of Death Stranding. Okay. So yeah, which one of these games did Hideo Kojima
Again,
not work
it's
on?
complete guess.
Let's hear them again, please.
A. Zone of the Enders. B. Snatcher. C. Death Stranding. Or D. The World Ends With You.
I feel like it's a trick question.
E.
E and then name like it's like E. FIFA 22.
Yeah, I was gonna
Thank you very much.
Cat Quest.
Right, complete guesswork again. I feel like Death Stranding's been put in there as a red herring. Because we spoke
I hope that we're just not really mistaken about the whole thing.
You
It's
think
all
of the
part
same
of his
person?
like how he works. It's not
Yeah.
actually him at all.
Yeah.
It was actually developed by Norman Reedus.
Yeah, that's the thing. We missed a joke. But yeah.
A. It's just going to have to be a
You've
complete
gone for
guess.
Zone of the Enders.
I'm going to go D.
I'm pleased to say that one of you
Oh, gosh.
is correct. And that person is Hollie!
Yes!
So congratulations.
2-2.
So it is now 2-2. Hideo Kojima did not work on The World Ends With You, which of course is from Square Enix.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
So
I wouldn't like to say I knew that. But it was
you
an
kind of
it was an
thought,
educated guess, I suppose.
yeah, so
Whatever. It was a complete guess.
We're even now. We're even.
it's taken us a while to get to like 2-2, but I'm
Yes.
pleased that someone's got one of them right.
I'm pleased that we're not still on 0-0.
Yeah. So we won't have a podcast for you next week as
We are away.
You're
for the
away?
week. We're at Glastonbury Festival.
Glastonbury.
and I'll be
Or the
spending,
locals call it Glastonbury.
yeah, and
Yes.
I'll be spending every waking moment playing Sonic Origins, which releases on Thursday.
Nice.
And also,
Yeah.
you'll probably be playing Turtles, the brand new game.
I probably will be playing Turtles, the brand new game, also known as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Shredder's Revenge. We should maybe do a little bit of a point out that we have touched upon that game. We have played that game. And hopefully, as long as we didn't have any glitches with the recording like we did with Cuphead, we will be having a standalone video coming out
Soon.
after the podcast.
Hopefully soon. Yeah.
Yes.
It all depends on how much the Tower PC gives, how much grief the Tower PC gives me.
So
Soon.
yes, we
Just
will
soon.
have hopefully a standalone video of us playing that game, which
Within
was
the next 12 months.
which was fun. So yes. Is that it? We're all good?
Yeah, that's everything for this episode of Popcorn and Joysticks. We hope you've had a lovely time.
I
Please
have.
remember to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed yourself, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.